sponsors, so they may be beholden to who's paying. A little scripture on top of self-help. I'm mainly packaging self-help sprinkled with script.
Crazy Day, home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere, delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177. Breaking news, stimulating talk. This is 660 AM. The Answer.
Sunny skies at 87 degrees. I'm Mary Rose. Congress has been told by President Trump that the U.S. is in a formal armed conflict with drug cartels. That's according to multiple reports citing a confidential notice sent to several congressional committees this week. This comes as the U.S. has conducted strikes on boats in the Caribbean Sea last month. Former Des Moines Public Schools Superintendent Ian Roberts has been taken into federal custody after being released from an Iowa jail. The Woodbury County Sheriff's Office says the 54-year-old is now in custody of the Justice Department on a federal warrant for his arrest. The former superintendent was detained by ICE last week, who say he's in the country illegally after a final order of removal in 2024. An attack at a synagogue in Manchester, England has left 2 people dead and 3 others injured. Police have called the attack an act of terrorism as it happened as Jews marked the Yom Kippur holiday. The suspect was reportedly seen driving a vehicle towards a crowd before going on the attack earlier yesterday. Sunny and 91 this afternoon. It's currently 87 degrees. Now you know what's going on. I'm Mary Rose on 660 AM, The Answer.
Traffic watch. Take a look at a trouble spot right now on I-20 eastbound between Central Expressway and Dowdy Ferry Road. It looks like we're going to have a lot of road construction going on, so expect 2 left lanes to be shut down right now. You're going to see about a 10 to 12 minute delay to sit through and some stop-go traffic back to all the way to 45. I'm William Shotwell with a look at your DFW area traffic.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or are experiencing pain or numbness in your feet, pick up the phone and call us right now before it's too late at 469-669-0893. Again, that's 469-669-0893. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. Eventually, it leads to balance problems, falls, complete loss of independence, and can lead to amputation.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Thomas, DC, founder of 360 Wellness. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medications. In fact, many patients start experiencing relief from neuropathy symptoms within weeks.
Pick up the phone right now and call 469-669-0893 to schedule your free consultation and exam. We're here to help.
Shane again, Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm. If you've been injured or lost a loved one because of someone else's negligence, you need a law firm that truly knows their way around North Texas. Claiming some big verdict or settlement 200 miles away? Not exactly local. Mullen & Mullen's been fighting for and supporting injured North Texas for over 40 years. And when I say North Texas, I mean all of it. If you can hear my voice, we can help you. At Mullen & Mullen, we have the local knowledge that will make a difference in your case. Call 214-INJURED for a free consultation. MullenandMullen.com. No recovery, no expense or fees. Been that way since 83.
Town Hall News, where conservative voices cut through the noise from breaking headlines to fearless opinion. Join the movement at townhall.com. Real stories, real reporters, real conservative media. 660 AM, The Answer. Leaving the leftists saying hamada, hamada, hamada. Yeah, this is the Scott Jennings Show.
Okay, it's Friday, October the 3rd. Scott Jennings is here, and we have a special guest today. Congressman Marlin Stutzman of Indiana is with us. Congressman, you represent the 3rd District of Indiana. Welcome to the Scott Jennings Show. Tell us where in the Hoosier State your constituents are, my friend.
Yeah, hey, Scott, great to be with you on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Northeast Indiana, so Fort Wayne, Indiana, the center of the district, all the way up to the Michigan line, and then south down to Winchester. A lot of agriculture, a lot of manufacturing. It's kind of, it's the heartland of America. It's a wonderful place to live.
Squarely in middle America, you represent the middle of the country. So I ask you today, how are your constituents reacting to Democrats deciding to shut down the federal government in their pursuit of giving free health care to illegal immigrants? I assume they're not reacting too well to it.
No, they're not. Just like they're all out here, out in the district right now, people are working. Trucks are running up and down the highway. People are working in factories, working in restaurants, and they expect Congress to do the same thing. And then when they find out why Democrats have shut the government down over health care for illegals, it's an eye roll. I mean, and it's a wrinkled up face like, you got to be kidding me. And I was talking to a waitress the other night, and the cost of life right now due to Democrat policies have just continued to drag on, and they're frustrated. They believe in Trump. They're like, you know what? We elected Trump to fix it. Now we just need things to start happening. Hold them, you know what? The Republicans have done. We even voted to keep the government open in the House of Representatives, but unfortunately, Chuck Schumer is more worried about his own political situation back home than he is about making sure that the American economy stays rolling and gets back on track.
That's Congressman Marlin Stutzman from Indiana's 3rd District. Congressman, we got a little bit of a rough cell connection. Hopefully it'll pop back in there. I do want to talk to you about the facts of this government shutdown, because a couple things. Number one, Democrats for years have advocated for free health care for illegal aliens. No one really disputes this. Number two, in the big, beautiful bill that you voted for and the Republicans passed for President Trump this summer, you guys made it clear no federal tax dollars, no Medicaid money should be going to illegal aliens. Just for the record, what they have proposed to keep the government open is just to simply repeal that provision from the big, beautiful bill this summer. Is that at the core of this argument? That's it, right?
That's it. I mean, that doesn't. They voted for a CR earlier this year, the same CR, a continuing resolution, and that's what they're holding out on. Is these subsidies are supposed to expire at the end of the year, but they're saying, you know what, we're going to shut the government down now. Somehow negotiate a deal now. It makes no sense, Scott. And that's what the American people are tired of. They want Washington to work for the country, not for the Democrat Party to keep working for illegals. I mean, they're frustrated that they double down for illegals, for criminals, boys and girls sports, and now they're defending, of course, reporters that get arrested out in Portland for doing their job, and they're frustrated that these local cities are ruining the country.
Yeah, the situation in our cities, and I want to move on to the crime issue, is quite something. We've heard some positive news today out of the federal intervention in Memphis, Tennessee. Lots of arrests, lots of illegal guns coming off the street, gang members being taken up. I did hear, just as we were going on the air, the White House is announcing that more federal law enforcement resources are being surged, and I think the National Guard being sent to Portland, Oregon. What's going on in Portland is not peaceful protest. What's going on is violent attacks by Antifa mobs against federal ICE agents and federal facilities. And to hear Democrats tell it's the end of the world if Donald Trump engages here to try to protect federal property and federal employees. How do people in Indiana see it? I assume there's some sympathy for the president here as he tries to get control of some of these lawless Democratic areas.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the president has tremendous support here in northern Indiana, especially, when it comes to cracking down on crime, cracking down on the illegal drug trafficking, human trafficking. We're not too far from Chicago, so we see a lot of that, even creeping into our rural communities from time to time. The president has so much support because they see that he's doing what he said he would do. He's keeping tax rates where they're at. He's renegotiating better deals. And we're in the middle of the manufacturing belt. And yeah, it is tough in some of these instances, depending on what industry you're in. Agriculture has seen a little bit of, volatility because of the trade agreements and tariffs. But these folks are like, you know what? We all know this needs to be done. We're going to support the president because we know in the long run he's got our backs. And what President Trump has been willing to do in Washington, D.C., and in Portland, and I hope he helps clean up Chicago, we're letting blue policies, we're letting Democrat policies ruin our great cities. And that's kind of stuck. We've got to rebuild America, not only just in the rural areas, but also in our great cities as well.
Let me talk to you about the economy. Obviously, the president took over in January, and this country was in a very deep hole. Inflation had wrecked so many families and businesses. A lot of terrible decisions were made over the last 4 years. The president implemented his tariff policies, and then you guys have passed in Congress the big, beautiful bill. Do you get a sense from your constituents that they are giving the president some leash here, some time? In other words, like they know it will take a little bit of time to climb out of this hole, or do you sense more frustration that there isn't more, instant relief on some aspect of something that they're worried about? What's the general consensus you hear from your people?
Yeah, most Hoosiers understand that, we didn't get in this mess overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight. The frustration, I think that I hear mostly, because especially when it comes to buying a house or buying a new car, is that interest rates were really the hang-up. The velocity in the housing market is so slow. Of course, the Fed finally lowered interest rates 0.25% a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think it was soon enough, and I don't think it was enough. It's going to take a little bit of time now, and a lot of people are like, you know what, I'm going to sit tight. We're not in a terrible situation. We're surviving, but we're not thriving. It's kind of the theme that I hear. And they understand why, that the interest rates really are a hang-up to future investment, to making that home purchase that people have been saving up for. They want to get a better interest rate. Buying a new car, you're driving off the lot paying almost $300 more a month than what you were several years ago. And so people are like, you know what? I'm going to stick with the car that I have. And they're making it work. But they also know that Trump's got their back, and I know that they're going to give him some time, and that's why we needed to get the big beautiful bill passed when we did. We needed to let that start doing its work by keeping taxes low, getting these trade deals done, and now the interest rates are dropping. Hopefully, they continue to go down that trend. I think all here, Scott, if you can feel it out here. Even in the RV industry, which is that's part of my district. Right. That area is also, it's like, it's there. We could be doing a lot better. And they're very optimistic in spite of the last 5 years that they've had to deal with a very difficult economy.
I want to shift gears to the Middle East. President Trump has given Hamas until 6 o'clock on Sunday night to take the peace deal. I know you have met with Prime Minister Netanyahu this year. I know you've also engaged with leadership in Syria and people on the ground there. I know you're very interested in what's happening to Christians on the ground in Syria. Yeah. Interested in your general reaction right now, the president's efforts on ending the war in Gaza, what's happening in Syria. As you see it, where do we stand in trying to calm things down and achieve some peace in that area?
Yeah, I appreciated, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to come to Washington and meet with President Trump and put this deal together, and because it needs to stop. I mean, it is a hard, we all got to remember, whenever I see people blaming Israel for the circumstances here, it's like, we cannot forget what happened October 7, 2023, when Hamas, invaded into Israel out of Gaza and killed 2,000 Israelis, some sleeping in their homes, and Israel is taking this very seriously that they're not going to be vulnerable along the Gaza Strip for future generations, and that Hamas is just going to continue to do this. So pushing Hamas out of Gaza is critical for the security of Israel. Hamas hides behind the Gazan people. They hide behind women and children. They don't let them out of that area in particular. So Israel have made the tough decision that they're going to just start, sweeping Gaza out and moving Hamas out of there. It's a very tough situation, but I think that this 20-point deal that President Trump and Netanyahu and so many other global leaders are supporting is a deal that Hamas should absolutely take, because they have very few options to get out of this mess that they created. And if they don't, it only gets worse for them. And unfortunately, it could get worse for those people in Gaza. They need to stand up for the people in Gaza.
Yeah, I have my doubts. I fully stand behind the president on what he's trying to do. I think it's noble and admirable, him working to try to bring this to an end. But of course, Hamas's stated goal is to destroy Israel and kill all the Jewish people. I mean, that's why they exist. And so to act like there might be a chance they would ever fully lay down arms and walk away from this, I'm skeptical. I read today that their military chief is saying they should not take this deal. But of course, if they don't, Israel with the U.S. backing is going to go in there and finish this militarily, which perhaps they maybe should have already done. We're talking this afternoon with Congressman Marlin Stutzman of Indiana. We're getting a little update on the shutdown in Washington, talking some world affairs as well. Congressman, why don't you hang on with us through this commercial break? When we come back, I want to ask you about some politics, specifically redistricting in Indiana and whether Republicans in the state legislature there are likely to pass a new map and create another Republican district. That's Congressman Marlin Stutzman. He'll stay with us on the other side. I do, before we go to a break, want to talk to you about my friends at Pure Talk Wireless. They have a simple belief. Our society works because of the freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment. Every American should be able to speak openly about family and traditional values without fear of retribution. That is a principle that Pure Talk proudly supports. Now, they sponsor this show, and that allows us to get behind this microphone every day and share the truth and share common sense with all of you. If you want to support brands that stand up for those kinds of values, defend your freedoms, stand up for America, you need to switch over to Pure Talk Wireless. You get the same great 5G coverage. It's an extremely reliable and secure network. You're paying $25 a month for their plans. You'll save a ton of money. These people create American jobs. They are an American company. Their customer service team is American-based. If you have a small business, you could enjoy their white glove service. Here's how you do it. Dial pound 250 from your phone and say Scott Jennings, and that'll get you switching over to Pure Talk Wireless. You do it now. You say my name, you'll save 50% off the first month. Dial pound 250, say Scott Jennings, and switch over to Pure Talk. It's an American company that supports American values.